Hey there, you're watching Alexa. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're doing an update to my Pan Those Eyeshadows. This project, as you must know by now, was created by Alexi here on YouTube. I will have her linked down in the description below, and a lot of other creators who are also participating in this project as well. So those will be linked down below as usual. And without further ado, let's get into the update. The first eyeshadow I have to discuss with you guys is the one that has been in this project, I think the longest of the ones that I haven't panned, obviously, and that is the Urban Decay Naked 3 palette eyeshadow shade Burnout. And I don't think you can see this right now, but you'll see this in the close-up footage. I finally hit pan on this eyeshadow, so I will be rolling it out. You'll see what I roll in afterwards. It took 45 uses and I rolled it out on July 18th. So whenever I see pan, I roll it out immediately because I'm a slow panner, and the moment it happens, it needs to be out of my collection, not out of my collection, but out of my rotation, so that I can go ahead and start working on something new. I know that from watching other people's project pans, Urban Decay eyeshadows are notoriously difficult to pan, especially depending on the formula. I think the older ones are just a lot drier and packed more densely, and so they can be quite difficult, but fortunately that shade was on the lighter side, so it was easy to do a wash all over the lid. I used it so many different ways, and I also mixed it with eyeshadows to lighten them or make them more frosty, and I had a lot of fun with it, although I was getting tired of it at one point. But hey, that is the name of the game. 45 uses is not so bad. Obviously, I didn't start it brand spanking new. When I do my 1-year compilation video, you'll see exactly where I started. So it was just very gently used prior to this project. The following shade is from the Nude'Tude palette from TheBalm, and it is the shade up here called Sassy. So that white shade, I am wearing it as a highlight today. It's actually my most reached for shade usually every month these days. In July, I used it a total of 14 times, but I, in total, since rolling it in, have used it 59 times, and I can't believe how long this has lasted. There's definitely a dent. I think it is the next eyeshadow that I'm going to pan. I suspect that maybe in a week or so, depending on how I use it. I did use it as a base for a blue look this month. If I continue to use it as a highlight, I suspect I will pan it halfway through August. If I decide to use it as a base for some of my shadow looks, then I think I could pan it faster than that and go ahead and roll in something new. That could be fun because this has been in here for a while. I can't remember how long, but 59 uses, hey, that's a lot. And it was almost new at the beginning, so by the time I pan it, I'll have a really good idea of how many uses it takes, although I tend to be a bit light-handed with eyeshadows, to be fair. Next, we have my least used eyeshadow in this project, and it is the shade Chase from the 15-year anniversary palette of Urban Decay. And I'm actually wearing it today in the center of my lid. This is sort of a halo eye look that I have going on, and I have Chase in the center. It's really fun to apply that way. It's very pigmented. It's funny because although Chase is a bronzy shade, to me it feels more like something I would wear in the winter months, but I don't know. I have been slacking on that shade because it's not something I feel like I can smudge as much into the crease. Maybe with the roll-in that I have, I can start to use it more. You'll see what I'm talking about when I show it to you guys. Next, we have a shade from the Naked 2 palette, which I rolled in last month. It is the shade Suspect. Initially, I was worried that it was too similar to Chase, and it is quite similar. You could use them interchangeably. This is a little bit more pinky and the other is a little bit more golden, if you know what I mean. But it's less pigmented, so it just seems less daunting to me. I only used this 6 times, so not too bad. I am kind of confident about this one because the formula seems to be a lot more reminiscent of Burnout, so I suspect that, again, this will probably take 45 uses to get through, or maybe 50 because the color is a little bit less forgiving to use all over up until the brow bone, the way that Burnout was, if that makes any sense. Next we have the shade Night Divine, and this is the only single that I have in this project. It is from MAC, of course, and I'm finally starting to see a tiny bit of an indentation. This I used 9 times this month, and I typically use it as a liner shade. I found that it mixes well with the shade Chase. It also mixes really nicely with any blues that I wear it with, and it mixes really nicely with the new shade that I have rolled in as well, because it sort of gives a more purpley vibe. So that's what's really cool about Night Divine. Depending on what you pair it with, it either looks more gray or more bluish, and you can kind of modify it to look a little bit more mauve-y, which is fun. So the new roll-in is another palette from Rimmel. This is the Magnif'eyes Color Edition. Now, if you can recall, at the beginning of this project, I rolled in one from a different Rimmel palette that's just like this, and that took me a total of 41 uses to hit pan on. Now, to be fair, it was a nude shade, but the shade that I have rolled in is this brown shade down here, which actually looks a little purplish. It's sort of like got a burgundy reddish type undertone to it, so when I mix it with certain shades, it just doesn't look brown in the crease. It's not a totally boring brown, and I am fairly confident that it shouldn't take too long to get through. Again, probably 40 to 50 uses, but I finally have a matte to pop into the crease, so it's going to make using my more metallic shades much easier, because then I'm able to put those all over the lid and then pop this brown into the crease and finally get some dimension in my little quintet, basically. Since rolling it in, I've only used it 4 times, but again, I suspect that that number will be much higher next month. So if you watched my last couple of Shop My Stash videos, I will have them linked down below and in the cards so that you can watch them if you haven't. I had been using MAC eyeshadows in my little quad. I had just added in singles. I used MAC Cranberry Club as well as the shade Texture, because I needed sort of a matte to pop into the crease. Today, I am actually wearing this shade from Clarins, which is called Midnight Blue. Cream to powder matte eyeshadow. To be honest, it feels a lot more just like a regular cream. I also brought in a little pale blue eyeshadow from Essence, and this is one of the Velvet's eyeshadows, and one of the newer pieces that I have from PR. Well, it's not that new, but I mean that it's one of the newer ones that I've been playing with. The Eye Effects palette from Pixi, and one of my favorite shades is actually the one in the middle here. It is just spectacular. It's this sort of muted lime golden shade that has a bit of yellowish kind of green tint to it. Anyways, this is the Eye Effects from Pixi in the shade Hazel Haze. Oh, and that shade in the middle is called Sage. I haven't really delved too much into the palettes that I've been using for companion shades, except I have been using Foxy in Urban Decay Naked 2. Same for the one from Naked 3, which was Strange, but of course this is being rolled out. So I'll go over a couple of the looks that I wore and that I'll be showing you on screen while I talk about them. The first is using MAC Cranberry, TheBalm Sassy, and Urban Decay Burnout. And then I used a black eyeliner and a liquid eyeliner from Quo. Then we have a look with MAC Night Divine mixed with Urban Decay Burnout and bronzer and blush mixed onto the lid. And I have Sassy as a highlight. You'll notice that that's a trend. I'm constantly trying to use Sassy. I really want to get that white out. A look with Urban Decay Suspect mixed with Chase. And I have Night Divine along the lash line. I think I did this look more or less 2 times. Then we have a look using that Rimmel brownish mauve type color on the outer crease, with the green on the lower lash line and Sassy as a brow highlight again. I have a blue look using Clarins Midnight Blue, Urban Decay Suspect, and Night Divine on the lid. I found they mix really nicely. And Sassy as a brow highlight, some blush, some Gilda in the crease just to kind of unify it with my makeup look. And last but not least, I have Night Divine with Rimmel brown on the outer corner and the lash line. I also have Burnout on the lid. So of course, because I hit pan on a new eyeshadow, I now have a pan percentage of 3.06 because I've panned 14 out, well, not panned completely, but I've hit pan on 14 out of 458 eyeshadows that are currently in my collection. So that brings me to a total of 7 pans for this year, which means I'm averaging about 1 pan per month, which is nice. I mean, I'd like it to be more, but realistically speaking, I wear eyeshadow anywhere from 18 to 15 times a month, and I think that's reasonable because some days I just don't really feel like doing eyeshadow. It's a time commitment. I'm gonna go ahead and show you the new quintet versus the old quintet. I'm really happy about this leading into, I mean, it's not fall yet, but I'm kind of, I don't know, the weather has kind of fallified around here, so I'm sort of ready for this. And if I do want to add in some color, I do have the Urban Decay 15-year anniversary palette alongside the Rimmel Magnif'eyes, whatever, color palette. So I'm good for now, and then I can always stick in some complementary shades. I happen to really like having this sort of neutral color scheme so that it doesn't feel like I'm wearing the same eyeshadow every day. Even though it's all neutrals, I can always dress it up with a color. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this update. I really look forward to whatever progress I come up with next month. I think I'm gonna be rolling out Sassy, fingers crossed, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Have a good one. Bye.